Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena and welcome back to another video. So today I have here my November wrap-up. I have to say, I don't want to sound hypocritical, okay, or anything like that, but I haven't read that many books this month, okay? For usually what I read, I haven't read that many books. There are still like 10, but I usually read like between 13, 16, so it's been like quite a slow month. I went on a reading slump for the last week and a half, so it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. Though I'm still reading one book. I'm still reading The Obsidian Tower, so I will talk about that one more on my December wrap-up, because it doesn't really make sense that I talk about it here. But let's just get started. We're going to go with the first book that I read till the last one. So we're going to start a little bit rough, okay? So bear with me. So let's start with The Resurrectionists by Michael Patrick Hicks. So I will tell you right away that I gave this one 3 stars. And the concept of the book I really enjoyed. I liked the beginning. I liked the fact that the bad guy in this book was also kind of scared of what he was doing. So I really like that. Plague doctors, that's always such a cool thing to me. I don't know why, but I just really like that. Also, there's a lot of gore, which I really enjoy. I don't mind my stories being gory. The more the merrier for me, so great. Also, the dual perspective, I think it was quite nice. And the thing is, this is set on the, was it the 1800s? I think it was the 1800s. I'm not exactly like sure right now. So there's a lot of talk of racism in this book. And if that was just that, I will be completely fine. But you see, the thing is that the bad guys in here are extremely racist, and they use the N-word constantly, and the one with the hard R. So it's just like, it made me uncomfortable in a way that it shouldn't be there. I get that they are racist, and you can still have that, but you can censor it. It takes you no time to do that. So, and also our main character is black, and he's supposed to be the main character, but actually the bad guys have more chapters. So it's just like, what? I wouldn't really mind that if it wasn't for like the constant use of the N-word from page 30. It's just like, chill out, you know? So it made me really uncomfortable. I still like the idea. This is a series. Will I continue? I don't know. It just made me really uncomfortable. I know that this is not the case for a lot of people. So yeah, and I do understand that using it in this that is kind of justified, using it on this context. I get it. That time was extremely racist. I know that, but it takes no time to censor it. Everyone knows what's in there, you know, we can picture it. So I did really enjoy the premise and the concept, okay? I did really like that. And it's really Lovecraftian inspired, so if you're not into that, you might not like it, but I'm really into that kind of monster, you know? So I really like it. But yeah, we started off the month a little bit meh. Basically, in The Resurrectionists, we follow these doctors that are doing this kind of experiments to just bring these kind of creatures into our world. They're kind of gods and such. And our main character just stumbles upon everything and tries to stop it. That's it. But yeah, I was so sad about this one. It's just like, it made me really uncomfortable, you know? And that might have been the objective, but it still made me like bad uncomfortable. So I just couldn't. I picked Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I finally read a Robin Hobb book. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. This was so good. I mean, Robin Hobb is a talent. It's just like the talent. She's incredible. She has a way with the prose, otherworldly. I freaking loved it. And I have to say that it took me a while to get into it. It's a really slow burn story. So you get to follow Fitz as he's really young when he first gets into the castle, and the kind of assassin thing doesn't start into kind of the middle of the book. So it takes a while, but the payoff is great. I thought that the ending was incredible. I loved it. Great. I already bought Royal Assassin. It's right there. Can you see it? But yeah, I literally cannot wait. I'm super excited to continue with this series. I love the kind of concept of the forgery. There's an animal companion in this book. Okay, and yesterday I made a tweet saying that I hate animal companions in books, and I do hate animal companions in books for only one reason. They are always harmed. Animals in books are just there to hurt the reader and the main character, and that's it. That's my hot take on it. I hate it. I hate it. The same thing happened in Crown of Feathers, in Ruin, which I will talk about later. So I'm always hesitating while picking books with animal companions, because I know that I'm going to suffer. There's kind of a limit where I'm just like, if the animal has like a great death, sacrifices for his owner, you know, it always happens. I would be just like, I knew this, you know. But if the animal survives the entire series, I will be okay with that. You know, I just hate, I hate animal companions. I just can't. I just love my animals so much. I even suffer when horses get killed, and they get killed a lot in many fantasy series. So yeah, kind of my main complaint about this is that it didn't feel like there was much plot until the last, I don't know, 200 pages, something like that. This one is actually fairly short. The last ones are just, the next ones are extremely large. But yeah, it had like that thing that I didn't really like, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the story. It was a great time. I think it was fantastic. I think Robin Hobb is going to keep breaking my heart with every single book, so I'm super excited to continue. I gave this one 4 stars. It's a great introduction to fantasy. If you have never read fantasy, this is a great way to start. I'll tell you the truth. It's just like, it's still kind of condensed, so it's not like too much. I really enjoyed it. Because I was feeling kind of weird this month, I decided to reread something that I really enjoy, and I was still on that kind of spooky feeling, so I reread Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall, and I freaking love this book, you know? It's just, there's something about it that I enjoy so much. It's just like a fun read for me, even though it's kind of scary and super gory. I just loved it. Give me teenagers getting killed, I will buy it, always. Again, I have to already talk about this book. I love the mixed media elements. I think that the kind of horror world is done so good. The only thing that pushes me back to giving this book 5 stars is the fact that it's YA, because there's nothing wrong with YA, okay? But it held back a lot sometimes. You could have gone so much farther if this was an adult novel. So in that aspect, I'm a little bit meh, but I give it 4.5 stars. I freaking love this book. Well, another book that I read this month gave me similar vibes to this. I love it. I love it. It's just like, I do have to say that I enjoy YA horror more than adult horror. I don't know why, but this was so much fun. I freaking love this. It's just like, in this one, we follow Sarah, and her sister went missing a year ago exactly. So the day of the anniversary, everyone receives a test saying that if they want to see Becca again, they have to go into this forest and basically go into this mystical road. And they go, and the mystical road takes them to a horror universe with monsters, and it's so scary, and they have to go through this 7 tests. It's just so cool. I love this one. It's just so great. Then I finally started rereading Motherboard so I can continue with the series. This is All Systems Red by Martha Wells, book 1 in the Motherboard series, and this is so good. I freaking love Motherboard. We could be like soulmates, you know, we all hate humans, except our humans, so yeah. I loved it. It's just, I don't want to tell you much because it's a super short novella. There are all novellas except the last one, which is a full-length novel. Motherboard is great. And that's the only reason why you need to read this series. That's it. And I have to say that it had like enough plot to keep me going, not only for Motherboard, so I'm really okay with that. I'm a plot-driven reader, so it was a-okay for me, but it was just so fun. This book is fun, you know, it's not something like extremely deep that's going to change your perspective in everything. It has like some talks about that, but at the same time, it's just fun, you know. It's about a robot called Motherboard who is obsessed with TV shows. It's just so cool. I really liked it. The only thing that I would say is just like, is maybe sometimes too much like a character-driven novel for me, but I mean, it's a novella, who cares? So I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. It was super good, it was super fun. I would highly recommend that you check out the series. Even if you're new to sci-fi or if you're a veteran to science fiction, you will enjoy it either way. So this month I also continued my path with Solace, and this is book 2 in the how is the series called? The Chasing Graves trilogy by Bengali, and I really enjoyed this series. The concept, the premise is just so engaging, so interesting. I have already talked about this series a lot this month because of my favorite indie and such, so I will not repeat myself, but basically in this world we have this river that if you're thrown in there, you basically are a slave as a ghost. Yeah. That's quite simple. So we're going to follow Caltro. He is killed the night that he puts his feet in this town called Araxis, where this river is. And then we're also going to follow the daughter of the kind of king of Araxis as she is trying to take him down, and also a mysterious character, a lady who's dragging a body into Araxis. I would just leave it at that because the plot twists in the first one are incredible. I have to say, I found like the first one more engaging, but I think that this one expanded the plot a lot. So in a way, I'm just like, yeah, I like this one more. But at the same time, I think that I found myself kind of more into the first book. In the first 100 pages, this one didn't grab me as much as at first, but still, this was so good. I love the concept of this book so much. I also freaking love Lilith. I freaking love her as a character. I hate her, like she's kind of a dumbass bitch, but I love her so much as a character. I think she makes everything so interesting, so I'm so happy just that she's here. She's so cool. Also, there's a cult that appears in the first book that shows more in here. It's kind of a really important part of the plot now. I love cults. That is a really weird thing to say, I know, but I love cults. I love studying cults. It's just such an interesting thing for me. So as a cult, it's incredible. And you know, overall, I really enjoyed it. It's good, you know, you're reading something that is actually good, and the premise is so original. I really like this one. I ended up giving 4 stars. I did think that I gave the first one 4.25. So, which one I enjoyed the most? I don't know, because technically I think that this one is better, but I do believe that I enjoyed the first one more. So, I just have to read the third one to see where I land, but I think the third one is going to be a great conclusion. I don't know why. I love the cover for the third one also, so I'm super excited. To not make this a wrap-up extremely long again, I'm not going to stay too much. I'm going to spend too much time talking about this gem of a book because I have already done a full review about it that is going to be linked here. I think I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of the best books I have ever read, like in my fucking life. It's good literature, you know? Like when you're reading something, you're just like, yeah, this is a fun time. But sometimes you get into a book and you're just like, this is good, like literature good. It's just, it's incredible. I love this book. I cannot wait to jump into the second one, which I think that is going to be even better. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but basically in this one we follow this emperor called Mapidure, and his dream was always to just unify these 7 realms, and he does. But now when we start the story, he's about to die and he's afraid because his dream mind just shattered into pieces. Yes, he dies and different parts are starting to rebel, and we're going to follow two different characters. One is Kuni, who has like his special background. I'm just not going to spoil, but he was kind of a gangster for a bit. And then we're going to follow Mata. He is one of the sons of one of these kings that was before Mapidure, and he's been trained his whole life to get revenge on the empire. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just incredible. It's incredible. It's not going to be for everyone, so don't be just like, oh my god, I'm going to love this book, because maybe you won't. Because sometimes it felt like a textbook, like this long dynasty that we're going to follow, so beware of that. But just check out my review if you want to know more. It's just like, it's beautiful. This book is just, it's perfect. I'm just going to say like, this is perfect, but almost. It's almost perfect. So then I read The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. I still don't have my physical copy. It's driving me like fucking insane, but I really like this one, okay? I know that the ending seems to be like polarizing, but I felt this is how it should have ended. I was reading it and I was just like, yeah, this is it. I even knew before I read the book that this was how it's going to end, because it was like the logical conclusion. I mean, I like to be surprised, but anything else could have been just like so wrong. So the ending felt perfect for me. I have no complaints about that. Having said that, I do believe that this is the weakest book in the trilogy. I had like some trouble with the pacing sometimes. I don't know why, but it felt like it could have been longer, if you know what I mean. It's just like sometimes I felt like we were jumping just like straight into another thing without having just like a rest on the previous one. Maybe just because I was just dying to read it, so I read it super fast. So I might have to reread this to just get like a more clear opinion. But at the same time, that was only my main complaint, actually. I did film a reading blog reading this book, so if you want to see me suffer, you can watch that too. But I love the new shamans. I love the trifecta part. There were so many cool things here. I cried a little bit with the ending, even though I told you, I knew that was going to happen. It was extremely emotional. This series is tough, is dark, and is hard, and you will probably suffer reading these books, but they are so worth it. I'm not going to spend that much time talking about this because we have our live show discussing The Burning God next week. Or is it this week? I will put the day here. And that's it. But yeah, I gave it 5 stars. Do I think it's a 5 stars? No, I think it's lower. But you know what? It feels like such a satisfying conclusion. And I love this series so much that I decided to bump it into 5 stars. Because fuck it. R.F. Kuang is just such a magnificent writer that she deserves it. That's it. That's my explanation. So then I read The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And let me tell you just right up, I just really like this book. I gave it 4 stars. But the only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars was because our main character is, well, at the time that this happened, she's 18, but she starts the book being a little bit younger. She ends up in a relationship with a super old dude, and I fucking hate that. I'm sorry. It's just there are some things that I cannot support that, and I can't. It made me uncomfortable, like again, a bad uncomfortable. So no. And in my mind, I know that he wasn't that old, but in my mind he was a fucking grandpa. Okay, he was just like, and I was just like, ugh, I cannot. So that made me struggle a bit with the last 50-60 pages or so. But this book is great. It's magnificent. It touches on so many different subjects surrounding race and poverty and so many different things. It was a magnificent read. As I've told you, it was just like good. It's a book that everyone should read. I was searching in this page and the comments were just like, oh, this is just a black girl, a black woman complaining. It's just like, oh, you're so stupid. It's so stupid. But yeah, this was incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The concept of hyper empathy was great. Sower, you know, I really enjoyed it. It's also quite gory and hard. I wasn't expecting that, but the first pages are just like slapping you in the fucking face all the time. I was just like not expecting that, but this should be mandatory reading. This is great. I would just take the relationship aside and just like rip the pages. No. Overall, I gave it 4 stars. Again, not 5 stars because of that. I just couldn't pass that. I'm so sorry. I can't. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I just can't. But overall, this book was incredible. I would highly recommend that you check it out. Please do it. It's so good. But we basically follow our main character, and she is like convinced that she's going to leave this place where she lives it because everything is turning out to be so dangerous. And she goes away and she suffers this condition called hyperempathy. So she experiences everyone else's pain. If she sees them suffering, she will feel the same, which is such a cool concept and it's explored here so well. I freaking adored it. And she's also kind of making her kind of religion, way of living called the Earthseed, and it's just so fascinating. I love reading about kind of religions and such, so I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think that this was a great book. Again, read it. This is a must, okay? This is a must. We're getting to the end. So then I read a surprising book. So this is Hold Back the Tide by Melissa Caruso. Would I ever say the name right? Melinda Salisbury. Fuck it. So if you haven't seen my blog, I haven't said the name of this author right, like never. So this is the book that I told you it felt really similar to Rules for Vanishing, in that we follow a teenage girl and she's living in this village. She lives in this part, like she's really apart from the rest of them. She lives with her father. And the thing is, the first sentence of this book is, let me just read it to you. Here are the rules of living with a murderer. 1, do not draw attention to yourself. I chose this for a thriller, and it was a thriller for the first 50 pages, but then it changes into a fantastical horror book, and it was so cool. I'll tell you this now. These are feral vampires, okay? Okay, if you were doubting, just pick this fucking book. I was so down for like, I don't know, 100 pages of it. It's like, yeah, they're really pale. The cows have no blood. They cannot go out in the sun. Are there vampires? Yeah, it took me a while, okay? I'm such a stupid person. It was super cool. They're not like cool vampires, like handsome vampires. They are feral vampires, like the ones... Oh, it's up there. Like the ones in the passage, like scary. They are going to eat you. They have no remorse. They don't remember who they are. So cool. I freaking love this. It was just like such a surprise. I enjoyed the hell of it, all of it. I gave it again 4.5 stars. Probably much people are going to not like this one as much as I did, but I picked it up in the perfect time. The atmosphere of this village was incredible. For some reason I thought like it was just set in like something like Siberia in like a super cold weather. I don't know why. Probably it's not, but in my mind I just pictured that in snow, and it's just so cool. It's just so cool. The atmosphere, everything. The twist, the supernatural twist, incredible. The ending, holy shit. This author has gigantic balls, let me tell you, because that ending, so many people would not just like go with that ending just to make it, oh, she did it. She has like, holy shit, I loved it. I think it was so clever. I really enjoyed it. As I told you, I cannot say anything else. I think this was great. I think it's such a cool read. I wasn't expecting at all those supernatural elements, and I really like supernatural elements when they're just like, oh, look at this twist. So for me, it was perfect. Is it going to be perfect for everybody? I don't think so, but still, for me, fantastic. So only 2 down to go. Then I read Raven Stratagem by Yoon Ha Lee. I better read this with Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, and holy shit, this series is just so good. This is a hard science fiction series called The Machineries of Empire, and even though I can try and explain you what this one is like about, but I'm not even sure I know that, even though I have read 2 books and I'm going to read the 3rd one this month. So who knows? But basically in the first one, we followed Captain Cherries, and she is tasked with retrieving this fortress called the Fortress of Scattered Needles. Now that I know the name, I can't stop saying it. It's just like, oh, I'm so proud. For that, she's going to use the help of this legendary captain called General Jedao. He has never lost a battle in 400 years. Yes, that's my standard summary for this series, and it's going to continue to be. But I did like this one more than the first one even. It's still not 5 stars because I'm super picky with science fiction. I don't know why, but it takes me so much to just give them 5 stars, because if I find like a small thing that I don't like, I would just like, no, it's not a 5 stars. Even though Grace of Kings had like a couple things that I didn't like and it gave it 5 stars either way. So yeah, I'm special like that. But the new kind of I wouldn't say MZ, but the new characters that show up here, I think that were great. I didn't quite enjoy Breeze. Was that their name? I didn't quite enjoy them, but overall, learning more about Mikades was fucking great. I love this character so much, even though he's a jerk and he's a prick and I should hate him like Jedao. They are both supposed to be unlikable characters. I enjoy them so much. Knowing more about him was so cool, and the same with Jedao. We have like more of his backstory here. So cool. I don't know why I have a pen right now, but so cool. So great. And there's a twist. Holy shit, it was so cool. I ate it up like a dummy. I was just like, I knew this information before going into the book. Why this surprised me as much? But the story is so well crafted that you will forget about some things in the first one, because they're not like hide from you, but they're just like, oh, you're not going to remember this, and then it's just like boom in your face. It was just like so cool. I ate it up, and I was talking to Kayla and was just like, how am I so dumb, because I knew this. It was so good, so good. Also, the calendar thing, I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, and it won't make sense just saying this, but the calendar thing, wow. I cannot tell you. This also felt like faster than the first book. It felt like more action-packed for some reason, even though they have like a very similar structure. I freaking love this. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I gave the first one 4 stars. I have a feeling that the last one is going to be a 5 stars. We'll see, but I cannot recommend this series enough if you like science fiction. I wouldn't recommend this to everybody because it's weird. You just have to go with it. It's like, yeah, of course, whatever. So if you're not into science fiction, I wouldn't read this first. But you do you, whatever you want. So yeah, in the last book I read, I finished last night. This is A Ruin by John Wen, and this is another book that sparkled my hatred for animal companions in books. I cannot deal with it. I'm sorry, I just can't. I suffer too much with animals. Kill the humans that you want, I don't give a fuck. But animals, that's my limit, so yeah. But yeah, so many animals died here. It's just like, I was just like so depressed, but so intrigued. I ended up finally giving this book 5 stars. I really liked the first 2, but there was always something that was keeping me from giving it 5 stars. I don't know why. This one made the trick for me. I did not see the twist coming, even though I was reading a review like a couple of days ago, and it was just like, yeah, it's like a take on the prophecy trope, and I was just like, what take? So it's just, I get it now, and I ate it up so bad. So I ended up giving it 5 stars. I really want to know how the series ends. This is the cry book. It's just like, it's going to make you feel bad all the time. It kind of also felt like he was setting things up for like the super conclusion at the end, but I'm really okay with that. I love to know like the behind the scenes of every like a battle in war, so I really enjoy that. But yeah, the only thing that I don't really love about this book is the main character. He's just like the usual hero, and it's just like every single other character feels like so much better than so I don't know, I just really like Gar. I mean, how can I not like Gar? In Camlin? oh, how was the name? The Archer. I fucking love archers, okay? It's just, they're just like my soft spot. I love archers. But yeah, that's like my only complaint. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. I have to say, I think that it's the one that I enjoyed the most reading, that I read the fastest also, because even though it took me a bit to get into it, because there are so many characters in this book, don't listen to the audiobook. The narrator just says the names so similarly. We have Ban, who is like the short part of Corban, and we have Sywin, who is Corban's sister, and I'm just saying the names as I remember them, but he says them so similarly. Then we have a similar name to Corvin. Camlin. It's just like, what the fuck is going on? Who is this? Is this like the same person as before? No, it's another name. So damn it. Like, that was confusing. I would recommend, if you want to read the audiobook, that you just read the first part physically with the audiobook too, so you can get a grasp of how he says the names, because if not, it's going to be fucking confusing. The first book in the series, Malice, is about this battle between good and evil. Basically, we have this prophecy saying that the black sun is going to face the bright star, and we don't know who is going to win, and the kind of fate of the world is going to depend on that. It's just like a really classic fantasy, if I tell you the truth, like classic epic fantasy, but it's kind of more inspired by, it has like a Viking twist to it almost. It's just like a more Norse inspired, so I really like that. But this might be considered a spoiler. I think it's a stupid thing, but I'm just going to comment it. They don't have archers. They don't have archers in the army. And I was just like, wait a second. What? They have never thought about getting archers in the army, because archers are hunters. That's so fucking stupid. I mean, who wouldn't want to attack from a distance? Like, doesn't make like the enemy lines. It's just, I felt so stupid when I was reading it. Like, really, no one ever thought about this? Like, I don't know. I know that has to do a lot with the culture and such, but you know, warfare. Like, are you dumb? I don't know. That was stupid. That was a little rant, I have to say. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this series. I really want to see how it ends. I'm going to try and read it this month if I manage to finish my TBR. But yeah, those were all the books. There were a total of 10. So it's okay. I managed to complete my Goodreads goal. I read 150 books this year, which is great. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, have you read any of these? Do you have any complaints about this, except The Grace of Kings? I will not accept complaints with The Grace of Kings. I'm kidding. But yeah, please tell me, have you felt the same way while reading Ruin with the archers thing? It's just like, it's a stupid thing that is messing with my mind so fuck. I don't know why. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.